Hi guys, welcome back for the second part of this Dell swap. This is the almost completed build. There's only one more thing to do, and that's put the power supply in. And I'm waiting for FedEx to deliver that. I'm hoping it gets delivered today. I'm showing that it was on the truck in the town over, and so I'm guessing it's going to get delivered today. If not, maybe Monday. But anyways, the Dell board's now in the new SAMA case. Everything works just like I anticipated I wanted it to. I've got all three of the USB headers working right here. And I've got the card reader working. I've got both the lights working, the power and the hard drive LED, the power button. Up on top there, I put the old service tag. I like to leave the service tags in with these Dell motherboards because it's just kind of convenient for the next guy if someone else is going to work on this. That way they know what they're dealing with, kind of. But I wanted to go over some of these things. Starting with down here. Let's see if we can shine my light there. That's the... can we focus? If I back up. There we go. That's the USB ports that were split up. On the left-hand side, I hacked that one. I actually took that little adapter that I showed in part 1 that you get off of Amazon, and I took a little, kind of like a little pin thing, and I had to get down with my magnifier so I could see it. And what you do is you kind of push the wire forward a little bit in its little shell thing, and then you take your little pin and you kind of lift up a little bit on the little clip that's holding it down, and then you can pull that back, and you can get all the wires out of there. And what I did was I took out the ones for, basically all of them, and rewired it. On the top, which controls the USB 3.0 jack up front, that's red, purple, green, black. It's not a standardized color like, red, white, green, black, but that's the ones that I used on this particular board. It might differ on your board if you're using USB 3.0 headers as well, and you're looking to split it like I have. But for me, it was red, purple, green, black that worked on this board with that little adapter. And then right below, it was just a simple swap of the card reader's jack. Same thing. I picked out all the little pins, nice and careful, and then I plugged them right back into the corresponding slot they need to go in, and plugged it in, and now everything up front is working. I rock, huh? Next thing I did, you'll notice right here, is the cables, the SATA cables. I kept them. Usually I'll change these out, and this one, you know what, I wanted to keep this Dell a Dell, and so I kept them. So I got the blue one and the orange one here, which represents, the SSD right here, and this would be the original hard drive that was in there. And this is the only one I added, which would be the red one. I thought, I better go with a different color besides something like this. So I decided to, switch it up here, and I put the red one on this for the CD burner. Now, Dell's kind of weird. Usually when you're on a motherboard and you're looking at the location of these SATA ports, it usually goes like 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, on this one, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. So SATA 1, SATA 2, SATA 3, SATA 4. Weird, huh? But, and again, I reutilized this. This is that little Wi-Fi adapter. And like I said before, it's the same thing you're going to find in a laptop. Get one off of eBay. Real cheap. Real cheap. And then I added 4 gigs of memory there. And you'll notice that there's a different fan. I put the Core i5 in there, of course. And I wanted to give it just a little bit better cooling. So I put the Noctua fan in there. I pulled out the old heatsink, too. And I put some Noctua thermal compound on that. Just to kind of give it just a little bit better cooling than what it had before. It shouldn't, That, and this is a very quiet fan. Love it. Love it. All right, and then right here, you'll notice this is a cable mod extension. This is one of the things that I give him for free. This was only $12.99. It's just a way to get rid of the, I mean, the power supply that's going in here is going to have black, 24-pin cables. That ain't going to make too much of a difference. But I thought, we'll dress it up just a hair. And, I can make it look a little bit better and put some combs in there. I got some combs up there on the shelf somewhere. But I'm not going to. I kind of like that dirty Dell look of, just crappy wires there. But it looks nice, right? Huh? Real nice. So, and then of course this is going to be black too. This is just the testing power supply that I have hooked up right now. So you notice this one I didn't paint. But if I was going to do something more with this case, I would absolutely paint it. And I would paint it maybe like a lighter shade of green. You know what I mean? Almost like a... what's the shade I want to think? Like a pastel green. Everywhere where it's black on the interior. That would just make all the green on this ugly green motherboard just pop out. Green. I mean, yeah, today's motherboards, they're black, they're red, sometimes they're white, and people kind of, put their theme around this, like they'll put the red LEDs in there. Green's kind of ugly. It's not one of those, kind of boards you actually want to show off too much, unless you're want to go green, then go for it. And that's kind of what I did here. And this is the second little free upgrade I gave him, is these fans. And I bought them because of the bad reviews. Yep, the bad reviews, and I'll get to that in a minute. These light up green, of course. Now, I have these connected to the fan hub in the back. And, but not all of them. Only 2 of them. The other one, up on top here, this one, I have it connected to the Dell's fan header. And you kind of have to do that. And here's why. When you hook it all up on the header and there's nothing there on that fan header, and you go to boot the computer, you're going to get a message on your screen every time that says, no response from the fan. Press F1 to continue, F2 to enter setup. And there's nowhere to disable that in the BIOS, so you got to kind of, live with it or else. And so one of these fans had to go on there. That or else I had to add another fan, and I didn't really want to do that. I wanted to go with what I got here, and I'll explain why I did that in a minute. So what I used was the top one as the system fan. And then it goes right down in there, and that way I don't get that pesky message. So this one will actually stay lit all the time. Or at least, indicate that the computer is being cooled down by the system fan, right? Yeah, right, whatever. And these ones are going to be controlled by the front here with that little switch. And that's actually why I chose these for their bad reviews. Turns out that one of the complaints about these fans is that if you don't give them enough power, they either don't operate or they don't display the green. To me, that's all right. I didn't go overboard on this project. Like I said, if I wanted to do more with it, I would have painted it. I would have, this and that. But I didn't go overboard because of who it's for. And he's not one of those that wants something all flashy and, So that's why we went plain here. We just kind of give it a little bit of ambience. But like I said, they don't turn on with the low voltage that is put out when you put it on low mode on this switch. But they'll turn on when it's up on high. So that gives them an option turning it on and off. And these are really, really quiet, too. That was one of the pluses of them. So this is going to be a really, really quiet system. The power supply is going to be fairly quiet too. The one that's on here right now is kind of loud. Like I said, it's one of my testing power supplies. So when I power this up, you're going to hear that, but don't mind that. Trust me, this is going to be a very, very, very quiet system. So I don't know. I guess if I was going to buy this motherboard out of an old Dell, I'd give, I don't know, I guess maybe $50 for it. You can get them brand new from Dell on Amazon for like, what is it? I think 108 or something like that. And then you can find them on eBay too. You can probably find the whole tower for, I don't know, $150 or less, with, not counting what they're going to rip you off on shipping, but, or maybe you might be, watching this video on one right now because you found this on YouTube and you're like, what can I do with my Dell? And if there's a redeeming quality about this board that I like, it's this Wi-Fi. It really is. It's wired up there, nice and tight, and then it splits off right about there. Right about there. You can't see it, and I'm not really going to try focusing in on it, but that's where I have them mounted. On the old case, it was mounted like one was right here, and one was right here, like on either side there, and then it was loose. If you remember in the last video, that's what it looked like. And there was absolutely an improvement with the way I did it here, tightening it up and then kind of splitting it off into a T. The signals that I was picking up on the Wi-Fi portion of it were a lot better than what they were on the original case. So I'm digging that. I'm kind of thinking that maybe more board manufacturers should do that. It's too bad we don't see that. Usually the boards I buy because I want the onboard Wi-Fi, are pretty expensive. And that, or they're not the size you want. I'd like to find one on a micro ATX, and you don't really see that too often. And if you do, they're high priced. Excuse me. And this one, like I said, if you can find it for like, $50, it's actually a pretty decent deal. I mean, it's not, latest generation DDR4, and you're not going to put the latest generation Core i9 in it. But there are some decent upgrades that you can put in there. You can obviously put in the Core i7 3770. That's already been demonstrated. And this is the 3450 that I have in here, Core i5. So there's some pretty decent processors out there still that you can put in this. I guess the main thing is the price. This one I picked up for, what was it, about $24.99, something like that. Plus free shipping. I got it pretty cheap. Sometimes they go for a little bit more. I honestly wouldn't pay that much more for it because it's 6-7 years old right now. But you can get them for a decent price. You see them a little bit higher than that. So I guess it really depends on what you want to put into it. What I put into it for Jim here is something basically for an old guy. That's why when you look at this video card here, which is a GT730, you're like, ugh, yuck, what do you want to do with that? Well, it's probably, what is it, like the last generation of computer builders, poor man's gaming card, what'd you say? And it's passively cooled, so there's no fan on it. So again, this is, very quiet. And when I picked up this computer, the original case and computer from him, and I asked him, well, how do you connect it? And he said, well, what do you mean? And I was like, well, on the back of your monitor, how do you have it connected, HDMI or VGA? Because there's HDMI and VGA ports in there. And he's like, I don't know. So I went and looked, and in his little office area there, he's got of course, VGA. VGA. And that's pretty much being phased out, and I'm not going to try convincing him. Well, Jim, you should really upgrade to an HDMI monitor. You're going to get all this high resolution and bullshit, Let's not screw around like that, man. The guy's 72 years old. All right? But anyways, so I thought, well, not a problem, man. I have a GT730 on the shelf there, and of course, it's got a VGA input there. So this actually worked out perfect, you know. I can program it and everything using the HDMI on my monitor. And then, of course, you know, I got VGA on my KVM to check it out, make sure it's all working. But, yeah, it's a good replacement. Like I said, this isn't being built as a gaming computer. Like I said, it's a multi-purpose old guy's computer. And the GT730 actually offers probably about 200% better performance than the onboard graphics of the CPU. And, you know, and this one has got 4 gigs of onboard memory on it. So, I mean, what we're getting out of this for, you know, something you can pick up really cheap is beautiful 1080p, you know? And realistically, that's all we really need. I mean, you know, it's not like the guy's going to game. I mean, what's he going to do, like play online bingo or something? But I've used the GT730 in some of the more easier emulators, and it ran quite well, you know, like the Super Nintendo and you know, emulators like that. Dolphin, it was kind of, it struggled, you know, and that's about the capabilities of that. But, you know, like I said, he's not gaming, so who cares? He don't need that. What he does get out of it, like I said, beautiful graphics. And if you look on the user, what the hell was the name of that website again? It's down there. I have a link to. And look to see what people are putting on this. I mean, you actually see some, you know, GTX 1060s being put on this board. And I think I even seen a RTX 2060 that someone used. And I seen a 1070 there that was tested on it. So, you know, people are using it on this board. And, yeah, so I mean, obviously, it's pretty decent for gaming. I'm not a gamer myself, personally. You know, I got a few that I play, but I'm not even going to get into that. Go online, check it out, you know. Don't ask me. But what we get out of this, though, and if you're watching this and you have a Inspiron 660, you know, and you got it, you know, years back, and it's slow and it's sluggish and, you know, whatever it is, what it is. Well, you know, tell me this. Does your Dell Inspiron 660 boot this fast? Let me hit the power button. We can do this in real time, right? Watch. Now, like I said, it's going to be loud because I got that testing power supply in there. But there we go. There's the Dell logo. And you can time this, count how many seconds if you want. You know, there it is, boot it up. You know, I just go right here, click on the internet. Oh, look, Google. So, just the simple changes make this thing just rock, you know, without having the high-end graphics card. And I've read rumors of like, well, 16 gigs will work in this too. This processor might work, blah, blah. And, you know, I wish I actually owned this board just to play around with it, test it out, and put some different sticks in there, because I always come across some. I only got like one 8 gig stick. I wish I had 2, and I actually sold all my DDR3 8 gig sticks on eBay, and because, you know, I don't usually deal with the DDR3 stuff anymore. I just kind of phase out of it myself. But Jim's a good guy. You know, I work with him. He's 72 years old, but you know what? He still works, and you know, he's retired, I guess, officially. You know, so he collects Social Security as well as works. But hey, why not, man? You know, they say, you know, the moment you start dying is when you stop working. That's what they say, right? That's what my dad always said too. You know, but anyways, you know, so I wanted to do something cool with his. You know, I convinced him to do the case upgrade, and that's actually all I'm going to charge him for is just the case. All the other stuff, I either had parts lying around or, you know, stuff like that. It's cheap, you know, and he got a pretty damn good machine out of it. Like I said, I'm waiting on that power supply. As soon as that gets in here, we're going to close this up, and then I'll finish off the builds.gg gallery with some pictures of it with the case sides on and what have you. And yeah. But hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.